What's up, everybody? Good morning. It's the morning show on Monday with OCD Mikey, Hi-Fi Guy, here for another edition of the morning audio show. Today is December 12th, December 18th. I thought it was December 12th. Looking at the 12th, 12/18, 2023. Moving right through this year, getting close to an end of the year and a beautiful new 2024. Today, I'm talking about keeping aware of poser hi-fi. Okay. Again, this is the channel where you get the information, good information that you can actually use in your journey for this hi-fi rather than clickbait, useless information. So we're talking about poser hi-fi. What do I mean by this? Okay. So being that the hi-fi industry is a very much unregulated kind of, people can say whatever they want, make any sort of claims and do whatever they want. And because there's so much confusion in the hi-fi industry, it is very easy to go ahead and make products that you can put together immediately without being a designer, right? Without needing engineers. I'm going to give you an example. And these are just people that are opportunists, that are trying to create products that really don't have any depth to them. They're just very basic, but someone can do good marketing on the front end and kind of pull the snow over the people, pull the whatever, the blanket over people's eyes, pull the hood over people's eyes. Can't even remember. But the wool, isn't that it? Pull the wool over people's eyes. Now, it's not necessarily, I have to tell you, the reason typically that people do this is so that they can make an inexpensive version of something. So they do it cheaply, and they have to cut out the engineering fees, which would cost you fees to hire an engineer to design something on your own team in your own house, right? In your own company. So typically you'll go outside, you'll hire somebody, or you'll go to a company that already has a design that maybe they're using for a different industry or using for something else, and you adapt it for hi-fi because they're selling it cheap or they're giving it away because they're not aware that they could sell it for 10 times more if they sold it into hi-fi. So they're just being regular about their pricing, and you can sometimes get great designs, decent designs, I should say. They're typically not great, but they will work, and you can sell them and mark them up exponentially. And that's the name of the game, is to try and see the greatest markup you can possibly do and run to the bank, right? Which is all fine and dandy. Okay, this is something that, it's the American way, I guess. It's capitalism. You just make whatever you want and sell it. You could sell snake oil, right? Back in the day when the guys were on the carts selling snake oil, you can sell whatever the hell you want. Doesn't matter. Buyer beware, right? So this is just making people aware. That's what this video is about. So this comes from a discussion with one of my clients who had a piece of equipment, and it is in the realm of gallium nitride amplifiers, Class D amplifiers. Okay, gallium nitride is a new material. If you don't know what it is yet, it is a new material that poises to replace silicon for chips, and especially in certain applications. When I say chips, I'm talking about microprocessors. Okay, small, or transistors in this case. It's a material that allows the semiconductors to be made smaller and more efficient. They have better heat transfer, so they run cooler. They run faster, so they're higher performance, and the material is less destructive to the planet than silicon is. So it's poised to be the new replacement material. Typically, it's made right now for the important things that need this type of thing, which is, let's see, look at that. I don't edit, remember? So my phone, I can put this on, I suppose, airplane mode, and that will stop that from happening. Okay. And so, that's where this is important. This is important for car chargers, for the new EVs that are out there. Because you need to make it small and light and cool. You don't want the cars to start on fire like some of the earlier versions did. So you need to design better battery chargers. Okay. So that's really where the money is for these companies. They are not interested in audio. There's no reason to use a gallium nitride compared to silicon because of how inexpensive the silicon parts are. It just makes no sense to make this shift to making, as a chip manufacturer, to making devices for audio. It makes no sense. It's much better to use them for these power bricks. And let me see if I have one. Well, I don't have the big bricks, but you know, the power bricks that sit on the floor, these type of things, right? They have a plug on one side, they have the DC voltage out, so it converts from AC on one end to DC, 15 volts, 19 volts, whatever, on the other side. This is called a brick. So this one is just a standard one. If you can make this in gallium nitride devices, charging little transistors, we could make this half the size, half the weight, much more efficient, you know, blah, blah, blah. It would cost us more money until, you know, until someday maybe they'll match. But right now, silicon is much less price. So what I'm getting at is there are gallium nitride amplifiers that are out there, okay? And what happened is some people that worked at the chip manufacturers at some point who also understood that they might be good for audio brought that up to the chip manufacturers. And at one point there was, you know, one of the biggest electronics companies slash computer companies in the globe that was looking at possibly using gallium nitride. So they went into a foray of discovering gallium nitride for audio, and the chip manufacturer became aware of it. So what they did was they made something that's called an eval board or an evaluation board. So typically, if I'm going to a trade show and and this chip company is trying to sell to me their devices, and let's say I'm one of the big computer giants, the technology companies or whatever, and I come to their booth and I'm looking at their tables. They have tables laid out and they have a bunch of bricks in different sizes. They have mainframe big power supplies that go in racks for data centers. They have some of those sitting there. They have the big modules that go inside the EV cars to show what the modules look like for charging the batteries. They have all this stuff laying out so that as a company, I can go and I can look and I can say, wow, look at the size of this. We could put this in our Tesla or whatever. Look at the size and the weight of this thing. This looks like a good solution for our build. And the design engineers walk around and come into these rooms and see this stuff. Well, as you're walking around, there may be in some of those manufacturers displays, there may be a table with a small audio display. Now, they don't really give two shits about the audio. The audio is going to be over to the side. It's not going to be a real important part of thing. They might just do it more so to be the company that is forward looking, so that when you come to see their company, you go, oh, they're exploring audio. Not really that you take it serious for audio, but more that it's kind of interesting that they're doing it for audio. What they will do is they will create an evaluation board. It's going to be something like this, right? Something similar, maybe a little bit bigger. And it's going to be, see how there's 4 holes on each side. So it's going to be mounted onto a piece of like lucite or wood or metal. Typically, it's just going to be open like this. So you can see the whole circuit. It's not even going to have a chassis around it. And it's going to have wires coming up to here, because this is an amplifier, right? You're going to have voltage in, so power, and then you're going to have signal in and signal out. That's all an amplifier board. The hookup's going to have, and then maybe there's going to be another one for the LED display to show clipping and things like that, for indicator lights or something like that. So it's a very simple thing. So this is going to be sitting there on a table. It's going to have wires coming up. Now, in many cases, these boards will have a little barrel connector. Okay, a barrel connector is this thing. Okay, so this thing will plug right into the board, and you'll see this thing up, and this thing will be sitting on the table somewhere else and plugged in. And that's how you power the board up. You're going to power the board up like this. Now, the only reason this is used is because it's an eval board. You would never normally do it like this. This is because it's portable. You're just trying to show it. So you use one of your laptop power supplies and you plug it into the thing. And then you have your output. And you have two little shit ass speakers and you have your phone hooked up or some little thing playing music so that you can hear some little shit ass music coming out of a shit ass board like this. Now, the reason I say it's shit ass because audio engineers did not design this eval board. This eval board, any double E, an electrical engineer worth his salt will be able to design an audio amplifier. An audio amplifier, they learn like in their first, eighth grade of becoming an electrical engineer. They learn how to make an audio amplifier. It's one of the most simple things to make. Now, it's very hard to make it sound good for hi-fi, but just to make something that makes a sound signal louder, very, very simple, right? So they're going to put their double E's that are used to building stuff. They're trained and they're sharpen their teeth in designing this kind of stuff, right? For laptop computers and cell phones and other stuff. Now they're going to say, hey man, make an audio amp for us real quick. So they're just going to bust one out. Okay. They're going to bust out an audio amplifier, not audiophile at all. Not even trying to be audiophile, just trying to show the world, look, you can use our devices for making audio. Okay. What I can do now, if I go to this company and I'm an enterprising young little squirrel and I go into there, I can think to myself, wow, that board makes audio. This thing is an amplifier. Holy crap. All I need to do is put some wires and put a power switch just like this. 50-cent power switch. I can put that on the front. I can make this in a box, okay, aluminum box, wooden box, and any type of box. I can put this on the front, okay, with the power. I can plug in if I want to. I can just use the plug that they have. That's the socket that's in the board already. I can plug in a computer power supply to the back of this thing, and then put my power switch on the front. I put a RCA connector. Okay, which is simple. You can see this puppy, and this is, I just dropped it. That is actually a very nice RCA connector. This is not just some cheap RCA connector. The ones that would be put in there typically are really cheap gold Chinese crap. This is Taiwan or Japanese, whatever. Not that the country makes it much a difference. It's just the build quality is much higher. This is silver. Okay. And then same with this. This is also Japanese IEC. Well, actually, we don't need that for this piece because that is right here. And then we put a binding post and an output. This is made in USA or made, I think they make it in Taiwan, but it's this is Cardus Audio. So you would put this on the output, right? And all you do is solder a wire from here down to the board. So you put this, you drill a hole in you take a box, drill holes in it. You put 2 of these in there or 4 of these in there, one for the right and one for the left. And you put 2 of these in there, one for the right and one for the left. And then you put, 1 of these in there to turn the thing on and off. Now you got a damn amplifier, and you didn't have to design a board, and you didn't have to design a power supply because the power supply is right here. Now, what you're doing is you're piecemealing something together. You are not designing an amplifier whatsoever. You are assembling an amplifier and you are making it in the cheapest, most rapid way to get it to market. Now, if you really want to be on the gallium nitride train, you could pull off some shit like an eval board and a computer power supply to get your ass to market before the next guy and try and seem like you're an innovator, okay? When really you're a scrapper. Okay, you're not an innovator. Okay, you're just trying to put something together and get out there and use the word gallium nitride in your advertising and be one of the first guys out there and show that you're this big. Okay, this is what you guys don't understand. And I just want to I'm painting the picture. Okay, and what I'm doing now is I'm showing you the inside of the industry and how things work. Okay, you would never know this from the magazines. The magazines would never tell you this. Okay, normal reviewers would never tell you this information. They don't even know it. Okay, normal reviewers, they don't understand how this works. But I've been in manufacturing. Okay, so I'm showing you guys, giving you useful information because this whole apparatus where somebody takes this and puts this together, I guess he was telling me it's a $2,500 purchase. Okay, so that's pretty cheap for a gallium nitride amplifier, right? The Jeff Rowland, on the other hand, is $4,000. So it's almost twice as much, and it's not even gallium nitride. Okay. But the Jeff Rowland, if I was to show you, I don't have a 125 right here. In fact, hold on. Well, I don't think I'm going to go through it, but I could show you the inside of a 125. I've done it before. It's a solid block of aluminum body. And then inside is a module that was designed for hi-fi. Okay. So the little board that's in Jeff's was completely very well designed for hi-fi. Many revisions on it, and it's made, Jeff didn't do it. It's made by Bang & Olufsen, okay, which has 100 times the money Jeff does for research and development. It has even more money than the company that made the chips for the eval board in question. Bang & Olufsen is a multinational conglomerate, right? So Jeff takes something that is fine, refined, proven hi-fi audio piece. He puts in his the power supply comes with that. It's also made by Bang & Olufsen. So it's a low noise power supply. This is absolutely not a low noise power supply. And if you use something like this, especially if it has gallium nitride inside, which this company that had the eval board, they're going to use a gallium nitride power supply. That thing has wicked high noise because it's not made for audio. It's made for efficiency. It's made for lightness, and it's made for a laptop. So noise coming out of it, high frequency noise emitting out on this thing has no bearing on the laptop. It doesn't matter. It can be there. If you were designing it for audio, it wouldn't be there. It would be a very quiet power supply. So I'm going to take something that's got a very noisy power supply, and I'm going to plug it into an eval board. I'm going to put my parts on the outside of the thing. And then I'm going to, these things, by the way, cost about maybe, so the company, you could get them for, I think, $125 for the boards. But they don't want to sell you the boards because they don't even take the boards serious. That's just an eval board for us. They make them in very limited quantity just so they can give them to people to let them do evaluation. You just ask for the things, you get them free. Okay. But their cost is maybe around $100 for these things, something like that, $60. So they are going to supply the Gerber files to make this. So this company, who is the scrapper, we'll call them in this, and I only call them scrapper because they're scrapping parts together, essentially, in so many words. They're going to get the schematics and the Gerber files, so they can take the files, the computer files, and have this made in Taiwan or wherever else. Maybe it costs them $25. Maybe it costs them $55. The cost is going to be under $100. Okay, let's put it that way. And so now that company that's the scrapper can say, we make our own boards, because they do make their own boards, because someone gave them the plans and they went and baked their own cookies. Okay. They didn't change anything. They didn't design shit. Okay. They just took the plans from a chip manufacturer and an eval board, and then they put it into a pretty box, and they put the switch on the front. They gave you the computer power supply on the out supply, so you could have a gallium nitride amplifier. Okay, that is absolutely light years. Hang on a second, because that is absolutely light years of difference between this. Do you see what this is? You see that board there? See all those the beefy capacitors on there? Okay, and then you look on the back, and we can see the gallium nitride output devices are underneath the heat sinks that are in there. Okay, so what you've got here is a complete amplifier. So if we took these two boards and put them side by side, we'd have something bigger or about this size, right? This is all there is. This is the amplifier. This is the whole amplifier output section. Now, Alberto did this in a novel way. He put it inside a vacuum tube for novelty because it's cool. Okay. You can also get this same thing on say a daughter board, like what this actually is. See those pins? And then you plug it into a motherboard. So he also has this amplifiers that can go on daughter boards that go right on a motherboard. And in case you think that this is hocus pocus and by golly, you're never going to have something that's in a tube that's not a vacuum tube. If you're hung up on all that kind of BS, then he's got amps for you too that are in a beautiful case and they don't have the tubes. Okay. But what I'm showing you here is an example of a gallium nitride device that is developed for audio. And not only that, but refined. This is the let's see what number that is. This is the the V3 tube. So this has been refined 3 times for audio. Okay. This thing doesn't even give a shit about music quality. It's just to show you can make some shit louder if you put in an input that you can use it for audio. Has nothing to do with hi-fi quality. This is absolute hi-fi quality. This actually is only one channel. Okay. So this is not a stereo. This is one channel all built like this. This is 2 channels on this board. This is one channel, and you can see, look at the difference in size, right? Okay. So, and then this goes with the huge power supply that you plug it into. It's got the power supply underneath and the switch and all the other stuff that I showed you. This is a gallium nitride device that is really designed for audio by an audio designer and refined for audio design. So this whole exercise here that I just showed you is across the board. You can find products that are going to do the same thing. You can find streamers that are just straight ass computer motherboards thrown in a box with a switch on the front and some software on there and a hard drive and nothing else. Okay. It's not proprietary. They did not design anything. All they designed was a box on the outside. Then you can find servers that are actually, they're not off the shelf motherboards. They are actually designed in-house. All the designers are in-house and they make their own proprietary, like maybe Orinder is a good example of that. Completely in-house design. They don't use off-the-shelf anything except maybe switches or whatever. But everything inside is all proprietary. And then there's companies that I've seen, I won't use names because it will kick them in the balls, but where they just put a freaking computer motherboard, an Asus motherboard, you know, an H110T. You could go get this at Micro Center. I can take this. I can put the switch on the front, right? These all have little headers. I can put the computer switch. I can plug in the power supply right back here. Here's my barrel connector. So I can plug in the power here. And any server that you see that has this on the back, everything in one little line, you know, it's off a standard motherboard that you can buy at Micro Center. So it shouldn't be 20 grand. Okay. It shouldn't be 15 grand. It shouldn't be 6 grand. It should be a couple grand, if that. Okay. This is $100, $125 motherboard. All you do is you throw an i7 or whatever you want on here and some memory in here into these 2 things and plug it in. And you got yourself a server. Put some software on it. You got yourself a server. So you have to realize that in hi-fi, there are several different levels. There's some guys that are assemblers. They're not designers. They just assemble stuff. They just take parts from here, parts from that bin, parts from that bin, and they assemble you a hi-fi thing. Sometimes they put it in a real pretty box and they do really good marketing, and then they get it in the forums and they get the people talking about forums because they give free ones to the guys that have 10 million, posts in the forums. They're like the Pied Pipers, and you can shill a whole industry. I can bring a cheap product into an industry that I did overnight just by grabbing some parts and making a box, and I can sell 1,000 of them if I get them into the forums and get people talking about, ooh, you can get gallium nitride for $2,500. It's a way for us to not screw you over, but to take advantage of you not knowing. Okay. Now, if you're fully happy with what you bought, then who cares? It's all, fun and games. It's all fair in love and war, whatever you want to say. But typically I get the people that buy this stuff and they buy Jeff Rowland from me because they're like, dude, I bought this thing. It was supposed to be really great. It's the new gallium nitride, and I got it home and I'm scratching my head. It's really not that great. It doesn't sound that great. I'm not feeling it. And then I say, well, let me send you the Jeff Rowland, which isn't even gallium nitride. And it's silicon, and tell me how much better it sounds. And then in the case of the people that want the real refined hi-fi, let me send you a real gallium nitride design, something that really is innovative. Alberto Guerra and AGD Productions. This guy worked for the chip. I won't tell you his whole story right now, but this is a real story about real GaN and hi-fi. Alberto Guerra is absolutely, unequivocally the leader in GaN technology for audio. That's Alberto and AGD. And yeah, I do sell these things. And no, I don't sell these things, okay? Because I have enough knowledge, and this is what also makes Mikey different. I have enough knowledge to look inside a piece of gear and know if it has this, which I would never buy, and know if it has this. I seek out the designers that do these kind of designs, and that's what I bring to you guys. Just think of me as the guy that has the good shit, and I bring the good shit. I don't bring the fake poser stuff. Now, the troubling part is there's even things that are in the $50,000 range that are on this end of the spectrum. Guys that use old ass technology from old ass designs that they've had for 30 years, and they put it in a brand new box, and they're going to sell it to you for $50,000, $100,000 for an amplifier, and it's not innovative. But boy, does it have a beautiful, front face that's in copper, and it looks like a chronograph on the front, and it's gorgeous. So they kill you with the visuals, right? It's another way to get you to buy. That's another video. But and that's where I have a problem, is when they're really, it's almost when they're really perpetrating old. I get this if you're doing it for $2,000, right? You're doing this cheap stuff and you're doing it, but when you do cheap crap and you do it expensive, then you deserve to get really called out. But this is just to make you aware, okay? Because we talk about different levels of hi-fi. We talk about different levels of what you people can afford. And you need to know that there's different levels of the way things are put together, okay? And it doesn't just cost more for the prettier box. If you look inside these things, here's an example of a mono block balanced analog amplifier board, much more elaborate. This is a well-designed amplifier board. Something like this is just to make sound. It's just to make so that you can have the example that the devices, they actually do work for audio. Listen, you can hear it, but they're not after quality with this. This is gallium nitride after quality. So I just wanted to take that second to give you guys some distinctions. So when you're looking at stuff and you think you can get the same thing for less, you typically can't get the same thing for less. Okay. If you are happy with, a battery charger guide design of an amplifier, all the power to you. That's great. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with a scrapper putting together a scrap together piece, utilizing parts that already exist, it cost him nothing in design. All he had to do was make a box, design a box and punch holes in it and put the part, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. I'm just saying for you guys to be aware that there is differences in what you get for your money. Okay. More money gets you this. Less money gets you this. If you can't tell the difference in sound, consider yourself lucky, count your blessings, because you're never going to spend a lot of money on hi-fi. You'll be happy with this kind of shit. And there might be plenty of people that are. So that's that. Again, I've totally run long on what I wanted to do, but I needed to do this video just to make the point so that you guys can get that a little better. I'll try and keep my morning shows down to 10 minutes, man. We're almost at 30. So I needed to make that point. Thanks for joining. Happy Monday. Have a great week, all of you, and we will see you tomorrow.